So this is a video to speak to the possibility of changing focus in some way and to see if it's possible to find the love already within the pain, to find the healed aspect of us inside the wound, and not just to be preoccupied in many ways with the if I fix the wound or if I solve the problem of the pain, then things will be better. That's, noble in its way, a noble pursuit, but it tends to when it doesn't happen, then we get stuck in the loop that many people have talked about and people do talk about. They suffer from the kind of looping of wanting it to go away. And it's understandable. I remember for myself wanting it to go away, wanting my suffering, my illness, my symptoms, my despair, my sort of the endlessness of it, wanting it to go away. And not just physical. I'm not talking about just physical. I'm talking about all aspects of the human condition that cause suffering. But, to actually shift focus, at least sometimes, to see if it's possible, really through a letting go in the moment, to recognize that there's something already there. I mean, some people, including Amoda, my wife and teacher, might point to the light or the radiance or awareness, but I am going to say its name as love, because there are sort of two levels of this love. One is the transactional love. One is the love that operates in the world as the giving and taking, the seeking of love, the giving of love, the love as a kind of transaction in a way. That's the love on the surface. It's got depth and it's got something beautiful to it. But there is another love. There is another love that is deeper down, that holds everything. It's unconditional. That's its nature. It's unconditional love. The enlightened ones have found it. Buddha nature is such a thing. The Christian mystics touch it, even though there's all this suffering that many of the Christian mystics have been through. And all manner of people in many different walks of life, in many different experiences, some in the most difficult of circumstances, sometimes in prison, sometimes in the camps, sometimes in war, sometimes in great suffering, or in all sorts of different circumstances, not just the sort of lofty places of great peace or joy in the ashram or in great meditation, but actually in great hardship. And something has opened, and there's been the recognition and the falling into, if you like, the unconditional love that is prior to the birth of form, prior to the pain. What is there? Is it possible to find it? You can't find it with the mind, but there's something in there that is prior to the pain that arises. The pain is the pain of form. The pain is the pain of self, whether it's the body pain, the aches and pains, the depression, the anxiety, the fear, the anger, the charge, the history, the ancestry, the inability to let things go from the past. They're all rising up from the ground of being. But that ground of being is where the deepest peace is. And it's not easy to find it when you can't find it, and when you're just caught in the cycle of suffering and trying to fix the suffering and worrying and fretting and, constantly chewing over or digging at the pain, because that doesn't solve the pain. Something else usually has to happen to solve the pain. If it's the body, it tends to be slightly more difficult, but not always more difficult. All things are difficult. When it comes to the suffering of the human being, all things seem to be difficult, and they take time. But the only ultimate power that we have, or ultimate quality that we have, is to be present. And presence is not a force. Presence is a recognition, a deep recognition that there's something here already. I hope you understand what I'm saying. There's something here already. There's some awareness here already, of course. But there's some, in surrender, there's a letting go of the tension. This is the willingness to heal. The willingness, at least in this moment. That's all there is. So all this invitation is just for this moment. The invitation just to let it all go. And and in that letting go, there's the possibility of a little window of recognition opening to see what is here prior to the rising of the pain. Inside the pain, not outside the pain. Inside the wound, not outside the wound somewhere. Inside the suffering. So we stop externalizing the suffering as though we're standing somewhere else, looking at it as though we're saying, my pain is somewhere over there. It's actually the the embracing of it without it dominating us. So it's a subtle shift. Inside. We're not talking about ownership here. It's not re-identifying all the time with the pain. It's actually something very different from that. It's penetrating with a willingness for intimacy. Don't psychologize it, just be willing. Willing to be intimate with the pain. Willing to be intimate with the suffering. Willing to be intimate even with the symptoms in this moment. Because the willingness to be intimate is a kind of penetration to see what's inside it. Because what usually we imagine or we feel with pain, whatever kind of pain it is that it's like this. It's a big fist, a big knot. And so we can't, it's like we're frightened of that, of course, because it seems like it'll either kill us or overwhelm us or freak us out too much, or we won't be able to handle it. But with willingness and awareness, we kind of enter into the pain. And so thereby it stops being the enemy. And if it stops being the enemy, then there's more opportunity for it to open and for you to open. Both things. And you sort of find that there's something in there. It might be vulnerable. It might be, tender. It might be angry. It might have grief inside it. It might have fear inside it. It might have the great vulnerability of being, temporarily here in this existence, which means that we're scared of our death. And if we're scared of our death, we're scared of our life. But these are the knots that hold us. These are the tight fists, the tight things that bind us, that keep us in this looping that so many talk about. And so this is the way of being intimate inside pain, inside the suffering. And thereby something starts to sort of open a little bit, because it is the path of opening. You can't become free, you can't get freedom without opening. Opening is an essential quality. It's not negotiable. There has to be, one way or another, an opening into a deeper intimacy with one's experience. And that experience is defined in a way, in this conversation anyway, by the pain that keeps us in the loops of struggle and suffering. So think about it. Contemplate whether it's possible, at least in a moment, to go inside, to see what's inside the suffering. Yes, there might be sorrow, etc., as I've said, but there will also be, somewhere inside that, is a love that transcends form, is a love that is beyond duality, is a love that is larger, is bigger than the wound. This is a more divine love. And that divine love is us. That divine love is us as us. We are that, but we've forgotten and we've moved away, and we, got caught up in the dream of ourselves and the suffering of ourselves. But actually, deeper than that, there is this divine nature that we are. And inside the wound is that divine nature. So this video is kind of saying, see if it's possible just to taste that. There's healing in that. There's healing in that knowing, in that touching, in that intimacy. There's healing there.